There we go, and we are, oh, quickly adjust my mic, we are live. Let me just quickly adjust my camera since it seems to be having a slight issue there. There we go. And we are live. Hello everybody, how are we? Just getting my photo up ready so I have all of my reference guides as to where I'm applying certain colours. Hope everybody's had a good day today. There we go, that's where the Citadel app is. So continuing from where we left off yesterday, we got as far as the base and the shade painting on our first one of 3 of the Dark Angel's Inner Circle Companions. Hello Bo, how are you doing? So this is one of 3. Today we are going to be highlighting him. And then after that, yawning already, that's not a good start. After that, we will move on to one of the other ones. We will be moving on to the gentleman with the banner. If I just slide this one out of the way. Moving on to his fellow Dark Angel's brother with our banner. So this will be the other gentleman we'll be doing today. So, Mr. Nerd. So I fell asleep during last night's stream. He looks awesome. Thank you. You did. It was one of those rare opportunities where I kept saying during the stream yesterday, like, I can't hear the baby. Why could I not hear the baby? And it turns out that Mr. Nerd was sleeping because the little one was sleeping. So they were very peacefully having a little nap upstairs. I went upstairs, and almost as soon as I went in, the little one woke up. I was like, that was short-lived. And clearly reserved just for his dad and not for me. Which is just rude if you ask me, but hey hey. So, let me just get our highlighting shades, because I've got all of them out already. I still have them left out from yesterday. And let's move on to some highlighting, shall we? So we're going to begin with Dark Reaper here. I was a Dark Reaper Red then. That was going on there. And this is going to be going on to the black sections. Are you on your way to work, Bo? We're getting ready for work. Doing well, thinking about the new Uluru minis. Ooh. Zero mini. Ooh. My brain is completely broken today. I still can't talk. I'm still very sleep deprived. So you've got between that and the spearhead from yesterday, they're living rent-free in your mind at the moment. Today I've been doing some contrast paints, which is something I'm still working on. Like contrast paint base figures, like entirely contrast base painted, is not something I really do. So I'm practicing / working on stuff for the channel to hopefully improve it. Getting ready, working from home today because it's a day of stacked meetings. Well, that's all right then at least. So no big commute for you today. Okay, I want my nice small thin brush. So I'm using this very, very tiny, in fact so tiny it doesn't even want to focus on the camera, very tiny bristled brush today. This is like a greyish, bluish colour. Oh yeah, also the Skaven Warp Swarm Eczema Sparks is living rent-free in my mind. Anything Skaven. If it's Skaven, it's living there, whether you want it to or not. I am technically doing edge highlighting still, but rather than just picking out set small sections, I'm going around the entire outer rim of this. And I'm probably going to go in with the green as well, because obviously it's Dark Angels. And even though that's not kind of on the colour board as such for what they recommend, I do want to add a little green hue to this, just because it feels wrong having a Dark Angel and not having green. But you can see there on his shoulder piece, I've literally, you can just about see it with the light, I've just gone around the edge, like the entire outer edge, rather than just picking out small sections. If it's Skaven and it costs more than a month's worth of groceries, you bet, absolutely. That sounds about right to me. It was a bit like that when I was collecting my Sylvaneth, to be honest. I can still collect Sylvaneth, like Mr. Nerd has got an entire box of just Dryads, nothing else in there to build for me. I think there's like 12 or 13 Dryads, maybe even 14 Dryads just in one box. They're all the exact same figure. And yeah, it just kind of goes to show sometimes these things cost money, but they are worth it. You're thinking about it, always thinking about it. Mr. Nerd's got a few videos left to record before he goes back to work, but he also has a bunch of Warhammer stuff to build, so how much of that will get built, I don't know. But, yawning, sorry. He has built my Combat Patrol, so I do have my Dark Angels to build, and he has built 30k Lion, so I do still also have 30k Lion to build. So, to paint, and they're ready. So, I'm curious if Games Workshop stuff is cheaper in the UK than overseas. I can check for you, like if there's anything in particular you want me to have a look at, we can look at price comparisons. Let's pull up Warhammer website and just see for price comparisons. Just quickly look at some 40k stuff. In fact, no, we'll look at Skaven, since that seems to be more fitting. Let's look at Age of Sigmar. And look at Skaven. So the Skaven Skyer Warp Swarm is £155 here in the UK, and the Spearhead is £91. The Skaven Spearhead, yeah. So they have, yeah, a little Skaven Spearhead with a bunch of like cannony looking things, and it's £91 here in the UK. Don't know what it would be for you guys in New Zealand. This kind of highlight is super light. Are those prices from Games Workshop or the hobby store? So they're directly from the Warhammer website, from Games Workshop. So yeah, £91 via Games Workshop for the Skaven Spearhead. To be honest, we do tend to go into quite a lot of hobby shops here for buying certain things, especially for our Warcry stuff. We have a place called Element Games that we go to for a lot of our Warcry things, obviously since everything for Warcry now is gone online exclusively. Good evening. Hello, Gray. How are you doing? We are still working on our companions. We are on to some highlights now. So far, the only highlight they recommend through the website or through the tutorials as such is Dark Reaper, but it's okay. It's not very Dark Angel, so I'm going to go back in with some green in a moment, but I'm going to use this as a base, and then I'm going to add random green highlights just to kind of actually bring it out the way I want it to. Okay, so about 20% cheaper for you UK folks. Okay, so that does make some sense, but then in the same breath it's like, ooh, it's already £91. And that's the cheaper end. Jesus. That's probably fair given shipping to this end of the world is very expensive. Yeah. Well, shipping anywhere is quite expensive nowadays. Shipping, posting. When Mr. Dad and I got married in 2024, we went out and obviously had to buy a bunch of stamps and stuff for postage, and I think stamps alone cost about £40 just for stamps. And I was like, geez. Are you painting them more like lion? I will be. So I'm going to go in with the colour scheme they kind of recommend, and then I'm going to add some green hues like I did with lion, just to kind of tie them in together. Because this is a nice colour. It does show a little bit, but I want something a little bit more vibrant. So I will be adding, I need to grab it, but I do have some warpstone glow. I mean the armour in the darker style, yeah, definitely. The armour that I've got is online, is like black with a green highlights, just to kind of give it that black and green look. So that's the look I'm going to go for with these guys. But I need to just kind of get the green out to do those highlights. But I'm going to go in with Dark Reaper first, and then I'm going to add the green, which will be Warpstone Glow, which is the exact one I used for when I did Lion. I'm just trying to decide how dark I want to go for his armour for 30k, because I've still got that one to paint in coming weeks. So that's the next big project. He is very shiny. He is, yeah. But once I've added all the highlights and stuff, I'm probably going to, not necessarily scruff them up, but I'm going to try to mirror the one on EV Archive when I get to painting mine. To be honest, there's like so many options. I was looking at somebody else's line, the 40k version, and it's just so vibrantly green. They basically painted the entire thing using moot green, and which obviously anyone who's familiar with the colour moot green, is a very, very vibrant green. I used it as a highlight for him last time, and they went in and they did basically the whole thing using moot green and then used a yellow to highlight, and it's very, very vibrant, but it looked really, really good. But for highlighting to kind of tie in with the lion, Sorry, I was pausing my mic again. My apologies. Are you or Mr. No participating in the 1 million mini challenge? Yes, we will be. Luckily, our store employers told us that we can carry stuff over from December, and the perk of the channel is that we are able to obviously have a big backdated piece. You plan on being some Lord of the Rings models, to be honest. Yeah, we've got lots of those. I only paused it temporarily because our next door neighbour is having a little birthday party, so they were being a little bit loud, so I just paused it temporarily, just whilst they were having a bit of obviously a good old time, because it's their little one's birthday, so I understand. But yes, we will be. So the 1 million campaign in stores is to get 1 million minis painted by May. If I'm correct. Grab my dry brush out and get ready to do what I plan on doing, which is doing some dry brushing over certain pieces of this. One, just to dull the shininess down a little bit, and two, to kind of highlight certain elements that are a bit textured. It went live on Saturday, I want to say, Grace. So it's very, very, very new. So I'm still using that Dark Reaper, so the exact colour I was just using for the highlights. I'm just going over certain pieces and dry brushing them a little bit. And not only will it help to kind of dull some of that shininess down, because he's looking a little bit too shiny for anything 40k. Yeah, ends mid-May, I think. Everyone can pledge to paint up to 100 miniatures before then, with walls of 20, 50 or 100 painted. Yeah, so for us that won't be difficult. We have a shed amount of Lord of the Rings stuff to do, easily over 100 figures. We have 2 or 3 spearheads to paint, and between the two of us, we'll probably, well, I'll very easily paint 100 minis between now and then. Today I've done 2 alone. This will be my 3rd. So, you know, just goes to show. And that is with a wee one. And I still have the rest of Dark Water to finish. But I'm going to be using certain ones for certain videos. So doing tutorials on stuff like Rust or things like that. And then the rest I'll kind of paint when I sat with Mr. Nerd on the sofa. So when we're trying to have, normal time, I will, and if I have the time, I'll sit on the sofa with the wee one attached. The cynically minded part of me thinks that an interesting deadline given the new edition supposedly launches around that time. Perhaps. Perhaps you are very, very right there, Gray. I think you've got it right on the money. But yeah, I think there's no such thing as normal time now. You're a parent, exactly. It's literally just to do with, for us, normal time will be us sat on the sofa with Darkwater alone. You're halfway there. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, easily done. And I've already painted all the heroes for that. Just got all the goons to paint. Normal time for us will be me and Mr. Nerd sat on the sofa trying not to fall asleep with the wee one attached to my chest in a sling, because it's the only time he sleeps comfortably at the moment, and a tray on my lap used for painting our Warhammer. That's quote unquote normal time as a parent for me now. Is that what normal is for everybody else? Or is that just me? Well, I'm heading into the nerd shop this weekend, so I'll see what I can do. Absolutely. See what sticks out to you. I'm just gonna go in with some corn red as well and dry brush that a little bit in certain places, just to make certain parts look a little bit less shiny before I start highlighting, because that's what I'm going to be highlighting next whilst that lighter greyish blue dries. Could easily just go in with one of our highlight shades and do this, but I do want to do I do want to use a brush for my highlighting, not just a dry brush. Honestly, Graceland Minis, the campaign rewards are pretty underwhelming, but if folks are already painting, already planning to paint a bunch of stuff, it's free to participate. Exactly. I think it's one of those things where there's no pressure for it. It's obviously if you have the time type things. It's not anything too serious. There we go. He's slightly less shiny now. He's a little bit more, like, you can still see all the shading that we put in yesterday, but he's a little bit less shiny. And now I can go in and do my highlights. And for that, I'm going to, I think, just go double checking, because it's got two different types of, two red highlight shades. I believe it's Wazadaka Red first, and then Evil Sun Scarlet. Yep. Wazadaka Red first, and then Evil Sun Scarlet over the top. So let me just quickly put my dry brush away now that it's clean and dry. I have like a little pouch dedicated just for my dry brushes. And I will get out some Wazadaka Red and go from there. It's all the time and money. 100 star minis wouldn't be cheap if you're buying them or them all for this. Absolutely. I have a new hobby toy arriving tomorrow. Won a random gift on the People's Postcode Lottery. Nice. And one of the options was a massager, but it comes with a U-shaped attachment that looks like it can fit a paint pot in. Paint pot 2 and free vortex mixer. Let's go. To be honest, that sounds pretty achievable to me. That sounds pretty awesome. I'm one of those people where I'm like, we never win anything, or I never win anything. So when I see people win stuff, I'm like, yes, it does work for some people. I'm glad. Again, that's the cynical side of me. It's like I don't enter. Obviously, it's something. If you don't enter things, you're never going to win anything. Obviously. Between Darkwater and the Comet Patrol for Dark Angels, I should have a good chunk if I pledge 100. I agree. And this is what I mean, like, this is the other reason why with the streams and stuff, I can literally sit here and go, look, I have the proof here. I mean, I would have been nicer to get a fat check, but free stuff is free stuff. Exactly. Everyone would have loved the money. But something is something, I suppose. I'll be making a new channel on the Discord for people's 100 model challenge, so you can track people's progress and what they want committed, what they want to commit to painting. That's a really good idea, actually. One, it also keeps people accountable. So if they're like, no, I'm going to do this many figures or this many things, and if people want the motivation to obviously keep going, then it's there. But then also it has a place where people can, show proof that they've painted it in the window that is requested. Because that's the thing, obviously, you can do your pledge, then you've just got to go in and prove that you've painted them within that window. So it's a win-win really, so if people want a place to prove that they've painted it and also want accountability, it's there. Since doing line, I've got like a whole new appreciation for painting capes. I don't know why, but like painting his cape was like one of my favourite parts of painting Lion. And that ginormous figure, it's like, no, the favourite thing, painting a cape. Don't know why. It was just really satisfying to my brain for some reason. Trying to arrange at the moment with a good friend of mine so that when Mr. Dad is back to work, she can hopefully watch the Wee Man for a couple of hours just so I can stream. But unfortunately, she's very busy at work at the moment, so I haven't had much communication with her, bless her. Painting cloth, well, is one of the most satisfying parts of the hobby. I should be at around 70 by the end of March at least. The way in which I paint, the speed in which I paint, because that's the one thing about me, like I am a fast painter. I can definitely easily get to 100 by May, 100%. It's just a case of how soon will I hit 100? Don't know what you guys think. Go back in with some Abaddon Black just to kind of touch upon any areas where I went a little bit too heavy with the highlight or a bit too messy. I'm not a fast painter, haha. I could easily spend 3-4 hours on a single clan rat. I think genuinely it's one of those things where it doesn't matter how much time you spend on a project. As long as you put the time in to make it look the best you can physically make it, then it's worth it. This is one of those things where as far as like talents, quote unquote talents, as far as talents go, painting has always been something I've been very good at, even before I was doing Warhammer. So for me, it's one of those things where I've been very efficient at it without realising how efficient I am. like big projects and stuff, obviously if I'm taking the time, are going to take me a while. Like I think, and this is like my version of like a slow paint. I think Lion took me about 10 hours, 10 to 12 hours. I know for some people that's not slow at all, but for me, that's quite a slow paint. But it'll be quite fun knowing that when it comes to my 100 minis, small models are 100% harder in my opinion. I'll agree, 100% agree. Anything that's small, because you have to focus so much on not losing the detail, it's a lot harder. Either not losing the detail or really adding the detail, because sometimes if you flood it and like overdo it with the paint, and then you end up with kind of like a blob rather than like a detailed mini. Perfect example of that is like I'm going to be painting some Middle Earth stuff again soon for on stream, and oh my goodness, the old stuff that I did was not the best. Self-admittedly, can confess, not the best. The faces look interesting and the eyes are looking in 2 different postcodes, but you know, we had fun. I just enjoyed the process. I'll put on a podcast and take my time. Exactly, I think that's a really good way of doing it. At the moment, I tend to just kind of lounge about, put something on the TV, some YouTube or something, and just sit there and paint. That is in the limited leisurely time I get to paint rather than just doing it for YouTube, which there's nothing wrong with doing it for YouTube, obviously, but in comparison to like how it used to be where I was just painting for the sake of painting, now because I paint for YouTube, everyone's got that first mini. In my case, it wasn't just the first, it was like the first 50 or so, especially for my Middle Earth stuff. Like from a distance, they look great. Up close, they are questionable. Especially, it's just the faces. Because they were so tiny. And they are still so tiny. I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But hey, like, we grow. I've definitely grown since then. My minis have definitely gotten better. My Middle Earth stuff has gotten better. Sorry I have to dip so soon, but I need to get set up D&D stuff. No worries, Gray. Have a lovely session. And just quietly, if I'm in a meeting, but don't need to be on camera, that's painting time, laughing. I completely agree with you. Anything where you can kind of be off camera, it's worth it. Have a lovely session, Gray. Righty. Few more bread highlights. Perk of working from home is that you have access to not just your work stuff, but you also have stuff like access to your home stuff, like your painting supplies. They don't need to know that you're painting. They don't need to know that that's what you're doing with every bit of your free time, and you're not free time. And we won't tell. Great, I'll be going to the D&D stream once we are done. Yes, we will join it afterwards. Getting to 1k, oh, sorry, didn't make such a loud noise then. Getting to 1k subs is definitely looking likely. We are at 584 subscribers already. So if there is anybody watching today who hasn't subscribed to the channel, please do. One, it helps us out massively to get to our goal of 1k subs by the end of 2026, which we are really, really appreciative of. And also, it helps the algorithm if you like the stream, so we know, one, that you guys are obviously enjoying it, and two, it pushes it out so more people can obviously watch it and we can reach more people joining our Warhammer community. Yeah, I think when we joined back streaming, obviously it's only like a week ago now, we were at 570 subscribers, and in that week we've gone to 582. So it goes to show, just like being able to stream again and go live and obviously publish content does improve our subscribers. Obviously it would, why wouldn't it? But it just goes to show that even with the content being watchable, just being present and being able to be present again, which we are very, very grateful for, it helps us out massively. Obviously some of the schedule's a little bit here, there and everywhere. Like there isn't really a schedule at the moment for uploading. It's just like on my other channel, you definitely get some good momentum with the channel, definitely. It's wild because this channel's only a year old, so the fact that it's only a year old and we're already at nearly 600 subscribers, to me is wild. Depends, because obviously it depends on the content. Like with my lore channel, the other channel, which obviously linked in the description down below, that shot up really, really quickly because it was lore related to Tolkien, and now it's Tolkien and Warhammer. But previously I was also doing Game of Thrones and The Witcher and all that stuff like that. If people still want to see that stuff, all they have to do is ask as well, and I'll happily do it. But those are kind of the main two focuses that I focus on. And when I started talking about lore specifics, it just shot up massively. And but the thing over there is in the watch hours. Whereas here, we're going to shoot up and get the watch hours quite quickly. And then it's the subscribers that we need to kind of get up there. So between the two, we're kind of like on one, we're going to get the viewing hours first. On the other one, we've got the subscribers. Like on my other channel, I've got 2.7k subs, which is mad to me because I've only been doing that a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to double check when my channel's birthday is. Can't remember the top of my head. I'm going to go in with some Warp Stone Glow now, and I'm going to highlight some of the black areas just to kind of make it look more Dark Angel-y. That's an interesting word. Once you reach 1,000 subs, is that when you can enable channel members? Yes, I believe so. We can also do stuff like channel members and buy me a coffee and stuff like that, like little things that are essentially like YouTube's equivalent of Patreon. And it allows us to actually start making some money off of the channel as well, which will obviously be really, really helpful. Not that obviously that's what it's for, but it's just like an added bonus. But I do believe it's at 1k when you can enable channel members. I'd have to double check though. I think you have to have one of the other requirements as well. I think it's 1k, and then you have to have the watch hours as well. $500 is channel members, 1,000 is ad revenue. I have not heard the little nurgling, so I'm assuming he stayed asleep for you, Mr. Nerd. Because we were convinced, because he's been awake all day, he's been fighting sleep all day today. And he had like a really big nap first thing this morning, and then more or less stayed awake all day, which for a newborn is wild. And then about an hour ago, before we started streaming, he suddenly... This is an expensive hobby. I don't think anyone would blame you for wanting to get a bit back. Exactly. It's one of those things as well where this will be something that not only do we actually enjoy doing this as a hobby, be able to make money off of it for the time we put into it in addition to the money we put into it. It's one of those added benefits that would definitely be helpful. And not that you need like motivation to keep going, but like if you ever did need like a motivator for anybody who's like just trying to start something, like if they're starting it just for the purpose of making money, then they're in it for the wrong reasons. But if it's an additional thing that you can benefit from, then it's a win-win really. Like for us, we just wanted to start it to kind of keep us accountable as far as like committing to the hobby. Because we've got a habit, or had a habit, of kind of going like, yeah, we'll do this, we'll definitely do this, and then like never touching it again. Whereas with this, by doing it, having a channel, to be honest, the money isn't an issue. We genuinely want to build a plus community, exactly. It's just an added bonus. It was like an extra thing to be like, no, we're gonna commit to this hobby between the two of us and have something that in common that we can like obviously share and talk about. And then we can share it and reach out with people who are like-minded, and we've built a really lovely community so far, and it's something that we're really, really grateful for. Really grateful. And it's, it's just really, really nice to see, because it's one of those things where any kind of nerd-based community or nerdy hobby-based community sometimes can be, like, some of them can be, like, so cliquey, and then others are just so welcoming, and we've had nothing but positive stuff since doing this. So far, the Warhammer community has been extremely positive. Even when people have like been giving us like criticisms or like critiquing us, they've been really, really positive and like really engaging with us and go, can I give some advice or can I suggest this? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Like, end of the day, we are still new to this. We aren't avid painters, we haven't been doing this for years, we are still learning just like other people are, and it gives us an opportunity to work on our craft and also share it with other people who want to do the same. And that's also the perks of our little Discord channel now, because like the amount of times I wake up and there's like a million messages from people, and I'm like, it's really nice to see that everyone's engaging in this outside of just when we post. Like, it's nice everyone's kind of just talking amongst themselves, which I really like, because even like when we stream, people say hello to each other, and it's not just, oh, this person's joined the chat, it's not just me saying hi, everyone kind of says hi to each other. So it's really, really, really nice. God, that was a ramble and a half, but yeah, it just means to say we're grateful. Back in the COVID times, I did some streaming over on Twitch, and the people I met over there are some of my closest friends now. Absolutely. Like, we do want to get sorted out on Twitch again. When we were like duo streaming between YouTube, because originally we were streaming on YouTube and Twitch, then we tried YouTube, Twitch and Facebook, and the only place where we were getting traction was YouTube, and on Twitch we were just getting bots. So it was one of those things where the money we were spending to stream across all the platforms was not worth it to just get bots. But it's definitely something we are wanting to do, to cross-platform stream again. It's like we've got a few people obviously who live in the UK or frequently visit the UK over here, and they're like, oh, I'm going to be near Warhammer World some point in the summer or whatever, Like Gray mentioned he's going to be up in the summer. Arch mentioned wanting to come up this way as well. And we were like, well, yeah, well, let us know when you're coming up and we'll happily actually do like a little meet-up as such. Because it's nice to actually connect with our community in person as well. And that's something we do want to do. Because everyone's really, really cool. Twitch has no discoverability for no creators. You either have to go viral or pick a category nobody else is streaming. Yeah, that's kind of it. And when we first started streaming over there, we were like, okay, what hashtags are we using? Is that affecting it? And yeah, we didn't stream on there like a really long time, but because the subscription was quite expensive to stream across multi-platforms, it was like, right, we need to make sure that the money we're putting in is worth it. And when it wasn't proving to be worth it, we were like, okay, let's dial it just back to YouTube for now, and then we can work from there to building it up again with another platform. I think for some people, like when they do get like hit it just right on Twitch, they can, they're set for it, and then at that point, I'm really happy for them. For us, it's just about finding that right niche on Twitch to hopefully in the future grab some attention, but regardless, we'll always have YouTube. And it's weird for us as well. Like Ballistic mentioned it in a stream once, who quite frequently joins our streams. He remembers when we only had like him, Mr. Nerd, and Signed in our chats, and that was it. And that was like right at the beginning when we first started streaming, and now we have sometimes 10 plus people joining the chat, and it's a bit crazy to think how much that's advanced in a good way. Like it's wild to me, but in a really, really good way. Right, moving on to the next red highlight, which is going to be Evil Sunz Scarlet. I played a rocketry simulator game with a bit of a dedicated following, which worked quite well. Obviously, you hit a niche bow, and it was obviously, it was like that's exactly what you needed. Whereas like painting isn't really that much of a niche. Obviously, painting Warhammer definitely isn't a niche. So it's like that thing of how do we attract the people in and keep them engaged. Was it Kerbal by any chance? Asks Mr. Nerd. Indeed it was Rothmer. There we go. So I'm pretty clueless on that, but obviously Mr. Nerd knows what you're talking about, so... Also, map games like Crusader Kings of Victoria, great game. Shame about the second game. You've set him off on a rant now, Bo. Like, this is what he's going to be happy talking about. Because Mr. Nerd does obviously MMOs and action RPGs and stuff like that, as well as other games. He does strategy games and all sorts on his channel. So, any form of game content, then Mr. Nerd is your guy. Ah yes, the logistics simulators, as I like to call them. You can see that highlight just kind of hits just right on that cape. You guys just talk amongst yourselves with your games, I'll be over here painting. Yes, love me some logistics gameplay. To be honest, it's like certain games that I think every time Mr. Nerd picks them up or goes back to them, you can always tell it's like his happy place. And certain games for Mr. Nerd that are immediately his happy place are games like WoW and Lord of the Rings Online and stuff like that. Because he'll kind of play them for ages, disappear off them for a little bit, and then go back to them and go, oh yeah, I remember why I love this game so much. And then we've got stuff like Guild Wars. Satisfactory is a game that you used to play all the time. Mr. Nerd, you haven't played that in a very long time, but you really enjoyed that. Any kind of factory building simulator you enjoyed? Still enjoy? I play Satisfactory on my ROG Ally when you fall asleep. Is that what you do when you're up late at night? You just play some Satisfactory? Does not surprise me. Right, moving on to the next highlight. On any of the areas where I've added cloth, I'm going to go in with Ushabti Bone to highlight those now. Saying like normally whenever we order anything that's like technical in our house, almost always it's something to do with gaming, and it's almost always ordered by Mr. Nerd. And then since we've had Little Man, I've been looking online and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, wait, I mean, I look after the Nerdling. Uh-huh, sure you do. When he's sleeping next to me. Yesterday was an interesting night. Like, I do not remember actually falling asleep. I just remember waking up every time the baby cried. But I don't remember actually dropping off at any point. So it was straight up a case of I just passed out and then woke up. Work time for me now. I have to stream. I have the stream on in the background. No worries, Bo.
Enjoy work.
Oh, Mr. Nerd has made an appearance. She's coming down to get a drink. The little wee man is asleep, as I suspected. Whereas it's quite common for him to just sleep with his hands tucked under his chin. So he sleeps like a little old man. It's quite funny to me. So I'm just kind of hitting any of the high points as well on his robes with Ushabti bone as well. So any areas where I applied Rakar flesh yesterday. A lot of the highlight shades and stuff that only really work for this for specifically if I have already done the one with the banner, which is the one I'm doing next. Because obviously it mentions stuff like lots of greys, and I'm like, I haven't done anything with greys yet. I haven't needed to. But that is fine, because I will be doing it very, very soon. Just need to find where I put my gold highlights, so I can do my gold and silver highlights. And then I'll do a rough base paint of Sterland Mud. And then I think we'll call it for that one, and we'll move on to the next figure. There we go. To be honest, I think you have the Space Marines type models nailed down. This guy looks awesome. I actually really enjoy painting them. I didn't realise how much I would enjoy painting them, obviously from moving from Age of Sigmar / fantasy stuff. I thought I would be okay, or I'd like the, you know, the more like alien type looking stuff. But doing the Space Marines, any form of Space Marine I actually really, really enjoy. I'm very grateful that I enjoy them because I've got quite a few to paint. So I'm going with some Liberator Gold as my gold highlight, and then Stormhost Silver as my silver highlight. But I'm going to start with Liberator Gold. This is obviously the first one of 3 of these guys, so I will be streaming this gentleman or these gents for a little bit, obviously until they're completely finished. And then I'll put it down to you guys as to what you want to see, whether or not you want to see 30k Lion, or whether or not you want to see more Combat Patrol first. Like, you guys can let me know. Obviously all of it will be contributing towards our 100 models for between now and May. For this I'm doing more strictly just edge highlighting, just because I don't want to go too overboard with the metallics, because they're not really the focal point of this figure. Yeah, when I was originally starting with highlights, I didn't understand like the importance of. Obviously, you can blend highlights and do like highlighting and shading and stuff, and it can look really, really good. But for a beginner, like doing stuff like just simple edge highlighting makes it a lot easier. What gold are we using for this fella? I have my DWK and ICCs in my to-do pile. Ooh, which one are you starting with? Right now, we are using some Liberator Gold as our highlight shade, but before that, we used Retributor Armor. So it's these two together. Originally I would do Auric Armor Gold and Retributor Armor, but I've been really liking Liberator Gold and Retributor together at the moment. Just slightly less harsh. And then for shading, I've gone over the top with Agrax Earthshade. So those three paints combined. How are you doing, Cry4 anyway? Or Crytor? My apologies. Now I'm going to use some silver highlights, and for that I'm going to use Stormhost Silver. Because like I said, I'm not focusing too heavy on the metallics for this gent, because there's lots of other details that I kind of want to keep the focus on instead. But he's a pretty cool looking figure, to be honest. So far, he's come a long way in just a day, because obviously when he started painting this gentleman yesterday, and he'll be finished today. Okay, those are the two gold paints I have bought. Your model is looking great, thank you. This gentleman is almost finished. We've got 3 models in total for the Inner Circle companions to do. This is specifically for the Dark Angels, which happens to be my Combat Patrol team. So anything Dark Angels, I'm going to be here for, and I love it. So I've actually already painted Lionel Johnson, the 40k version, or a geriatric lion. And in the coming weeks, I'll be painting 30k lion. Awesome. Hoping into a game of Ark. I'll sub. Thank you. We really appreciate the subscription. If you have Discord as well, we also have a Discord channel. You can find that linked in the stream description down below. If you've got any projects, any paintings that you want to show us over there, then please feel free to join and share it there, because we'd love to see it. And I hope your game goes well. There we go. Do a quick spinnerini to show you guys the full thing again, and then we'll do his base in some Sterland Mud. He's not finished after Sterland Mud, but we're starting there and going from there. Let me just pop my cap back on my paintbrush. Make sure it's nice and clean. There we go. So this is our first one of our Dark Angels Inner Circle companions complete. He is rather cool. We're going to be starting our second one now. So what we're going to do is base in some Sterland Mud first, and then we're going to go from there. But since these guys are supposed to be ruthless killers, I think what I'll end up doing is adding some skulls to these bases as well, because I think that'll just work a lot better. So using the technical paint Sterland Mud for our base. At least the start of our base. So a lot of the focus for 2026, for anybody who's new, who's kind of lurking in the comments, is going to be a lot of 40k stuff. So if that's more your cup of tea, then please subscribe to the channel, because we'll be doing quite a lot of that this year. between streams and video content. This is going to be a lot of 40k stuff. It'll be lots of Dark Angels. It'll be some Space Communists, I'm sorry, so some Tau. But between the two, we also want to, as requested by one of our lovely subscribers, we'll be painting some form of Dreadnought. So, if you guys want to see that, then please let us know. And at the moment we are learning some kill team. So, we are going to be painting more kill teams, even playing some kill team. So if you actually want to see gameplay footage and not just painting, because we do both, then let us know and we'll be happy to actually play some kill team live on stream for you guys, between me and Mr. Nerd. That might not be for a couple more months until the wee nurgling, aka our infant, who was only 3 weeks old, is sleeping a little bit more soundly, so we can both be in the same room at the same time with him and play, hopefully without any real interruptions, once he's established a bit more of a sleeping pattern. But until then, we have plenty of stuff to paint to fill the time. So there we go. That is the start of the base started. I will be adding some skulls and things like that to this, and I'll also be adding some shading and highlighting, and probably also add some Ard coat to this to make some like wet puddles. So I'll be adding that as well at some point. But for now, let's switch to our next figure, which is the exact same thing, just with a big old banner. So I'm going to have to just lift my camera up a little bit because he's a little bit taller than the others. Let's push that up a little bit more. And refocus. There we go. So this is our next companion. They need names. None of them have been named so far. Right, let's get started. I'm just having a quick refresher of my colour scheme, because luckily I've still got all the paints out, but it just helps to kind of know where I should start. And I'm starting with Abaddon Black, because I know this guy's been painted black already, but it just helps make the base look a little bit cleaner. But because I have fortunately painted the base or sprayed the base using Chaos Black, it's not too bad if I kind of miss any smaller sections because of the fact that I've painted him black on underneath, which is very, very helpful to me. So, but once I've done this little base coat, I will move on to the red. I think I'll immediately move on to the red, just to kind of add a little bit of brightness. And a little bit of colour. But yeah, these figures are pretty awesome. So if there's anybody in the channel or watching who is specifically interested in Dark Angel stuff, then please subscribe, because we're going to be getting quite a lot of that this year. And going forward, because I've decided to pledge myself to the Dark Angels as my combat patrol team and as my chapter in general, because I just love the lion. I picked them based on their lore, because I do a lore channel as well, which you'll also find in the description down below. So if you want to see some Warhammer lore, then have a look over there. But I've done everything from Thousand Suns to Space Wolves to the Dark Angels to Salamanders. I haven't done everything so far, obviously, but out of the ones that I've covered so far, this was the one, the Dark Angels was the one for me that stood out the most. And good old Lionel, that's the one that I wanted to pledge my loyalty to, so I became a Dark Angel supporter. Gotta love that geriatric grumpy lion. I'm not saying he is grumpy, but he probably is, to be honest. He looks a little bit like he'd be grumpy. Right, now moving on to some corn red. The superior red shade, in my opinion. Trying to make this as bright as I want to. I will be adding 2 or 3 layers like I did with the figure yesterday. But it is worth adding those 2 or 3 layers because the colour payout was just so much better. Oh, I can hear the wee nurgling. He has decided to wake up. With those crevices. Immediately he looks a little bit more put together just from having that red on him. If anybody is interested in the Space Communists, aka Tau, you'll also soon find there'll be some Tau content over here as well. Because Mr. Nerd, aka Rothmer Gaming, in the comments section, he is a filthy Tau player. So as soon as they are painted, or when he's ready to paint them, we'll be getting some Tau content on the channel as well as the Dark Angels. This guy looks a little bit more epic in comparison to the other two. They all look really cool, but he's really epic looking. This guy this guy's standard will be interesting. It will. Just from the photo alone that I have as like reference, he's going to be like epic on many portions, but it's just a case of getting him there. But this guy will be finished over today and tomorrow's stream. So if you want to see how this guy turns out, then please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that tomorrow. There we go. I'm going to start that second coat of red now on the bottom layer. These are like my first real Dark Angels figures, because obviously I've done Lion for 40k, and obviously he is a playable character, and obviously when we do Combat Patrol we'll be able to use him. But as far as like the rest of the figures go, a lot of them are collectibles. Like we have Lion from 30k, aka Horus Heresy Lion. And like he won't be a character that I'll be playing or anything like that. That'll be purely just for collectible purposes. But they look cool nonetheless. But these will be the first ones that I can actually really play and look at the gameplay of. these kind of like set the bar for how I'm going to be doing the rest of my Dark Angels. Pick up a little bit more red. Every time I go around in a circle, I'm like, yeah, I've got all the pieces. And then suddenly I spot another piece. I'm like, that should be red also. Great. Let me fill that in real quick. There we go. Whilst the red dries, I'll move on to his stand. And for that, I'm going to go in with some lead belcher first. My game went terribly. I'm behind on your video, but just joined the Discord. I've only just started the hobby. Nice that you popped up on the feed. I'll post my practice. Tell me in the Discord. I'd like to see your line. I will grab it for you and I will show you. Bear with me just 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Re-get myself situated. Ooh. So this is a lion, 40k lion specifically. I did paint this on the stream, so if you want to watch exactly how I painted him, then he is there. But this was like 10 to 12 hours of work. it was in that ballpark. But yeah, this is Lion. Like, he's by far my favourite figure I've ever done so far. And I've done quite a lot of figures over the last year, but we've only been painting for a year, and this is my 1 year. This was kind of like my 1 year progress thing for me. But yeah, really, really happy with him. Really happy with him. And now I have the lovely 30k version, the Horus Heresy version to paint, which is a little bit smaller than this, but it's got so much going on. That's cracking work there. Thank you. I appreciate it. But stuff like his shield, which, if it wants to stay focused, I'm really, really happy with. You have the little guys, you have the Watchers either side, and then of course Lion himself. And then his cape, which turned out pretty awesome. Those are like my favourite aspects of the model. But yeah, that was actually the first proper, like I did like a few like mock ones. I did some like Sailor Moon Marines, like silly little ones where I took Sailor Moon characters, the anime, and I took Space Marines, Ultramarines specifically, and I made them. The 30k line is so much cooler in my opinion. It is really, really cool. Haven't started it yet. That'll be next week or the week after. It will probably be when Mr. Node is back from work, because then I can stream quite consistently every night. I love the shield colour scheme. Seen a few variants. Nice to have Watchers that colour too. Yeah, so originally they actually recommended, I think 40k Lion wins lore-wise though. Yes, I think so. He had like multiple options for his head, and like one of them was like one with his helmet, one with a hood, and then one without the hood. And I thought, no, like this is geriatric Lion. Let's let him show his face. Like, he's got some battle wounds at this point, but we'll let him show his face. And then for the 30k model, which I'll grab for you in just a second once I finish painting this silver, we went for him with his helmet. So the 30k Horus Heresy model is really epic, but our plan is to slowly but surely gather all of the Primarchs. So but I'm just interested to see, like, obviously there's been like rumours and stuff of like his reunion with Gulliman. But I'm interested to actually see that and see how that's going to play out. Because I don't think it's going to be as friendly as people think it is. There's going to be a lot of fighting involved. But I'm a big Lionel Johnson fan. I like him a lot. I hope it's a nice reunion, but it is grimdark. Haha, exactly. I think it will have a happy ending, but I think they'll fight each other a bit first, and maybe be a bit grumpy and a bit too proud at first. And then there'll be a nice reunion. It's just going to take them a minute to get there. I think they're both going to be just a bit too proud to be nice to each other at first. But they will get there, eventually. That's my opinion. But there was like some hints in the showcase of like what's to come for what's to come for Warhammer for this year, and they did kind of potentially hint at the return of Porto, which I've long suspected anyway. But, you know, I think it's very, very possible that that'll be the thing that reunites them. It'll be Gulliman and Lion versus Porto, in my opinion. That's how I see it going. You know, good old Peter Turbo. They'll like begrudgingly work together and then remember why they actually got along so well in the first place. I'm going to go with some Retributor armor now on the outside of these wings. So I'll just decant that and then I'll grab you the 30k lion to have a look at. Obviously he's not painted yet, but you can kind of see the figure and see what exciting stuff we have to come in the next couple of weeks. Okay. That's one side. So, base alone. That is the base for 30k lion. So, already very epic, very busy. So in addition to painting lion, I also have all of these guys to paint. So that's going to be fun for me. And not stressful at all. Then you have, this is just the little stand that lion gets placed on. You then have one little space marine who stands adjacent like so. Yeah, he does stand there. But he goes there. But obviously he doesn't want to stay there right now because he's not stuck down. And he is shooting up into the face of the lion. Which in this case he has his helmet on this time. But it's still pretty epic. So it's going to be a big job to paint him. But it will be worth it in the end. But yes, it's going to take me a minute to paint this one. It's a good thing I get along with painting the Space Marines quite well, because I've got quite a few to paint. So, now going in with that Retributor armor. So we're just going to be starting this guy today mostly. He'll be finished off tomorrow. We'll go for another like 15 minutes or so, and then we'll call it for tonight's stream. And like I said, we'll be back again tomorrow to finish this off. We've got this one and one more of the champions to paint. So we'll finish this champion off tomorrow, and we might start the third one, but we'll see. I bet Lion and Big G-Man will kiss on the reunion. Very grimdark, you know, that's how most grimdark reunions go. Just a big old smooch. Do you thin the gods? I do, so I use a tiny bit of water. So I thin all my paints, but I literally just do, like say, for 1 drop of paint, I do maybe like 2 drops of water. I know when I've used too much, so always shake your paint before you use them, and then just do like 1 drop of paint to a couple drops of water, just because then you're not wasting excessive amounts of product, and also because I think if you don't thin the metallics, they can go on a little bit lumpy, I find. So it's just easier just to add a couple drops of water to it, and you'll know if you added too much because the paint starts to separate from the water. Might mean you have to do 2 coats or 3 coats, but I'd rather do 2 or 3 coats and have a better consistency as such. Yeah, the only paints I don't thin are shade paints and contrast paints. They're the only paints I don't thin. Actually, no, that's a lie. I do occasionally thin shade paints depending on the type of colour payout I want to get. Because sometimes I want just a super diluted colour scheme. But yeah, water works as a perfect medium for all citadel based paints because they're all water based, so there's no fancy products needed. Right, so check what grey they want for the wings. Okay, so we want Celestial Grey. I'm using the Citadel Colour app guide for this, by the way. The wrong one down. Celestial Grey. That's the one I'm going in with here. In this case, I've done like 1 drop of water to 1 drop of paint. Just because consistency-wise is about what I would want. And obviously the darker the primer that you apply, the more coats you're going to have to do to cover it and get the colour payoff you actually want. If you want a more sheer look, then great, but if you want a more opaque finish, then you're going to need to add, obviously, a lot more layers. Which is fine. only think I'm only gonna have to do 2 coats of this one, actually. I thought I was gonna have to do like 3 or 4. But we'll see how it dries, but right now I'm pretty happy with the colour payoff. Yeah, already this is a pretty epic looking banner. This is definitely more satisfying than the game of Ark I am playing. I'm glad to hear that. At least it's entertaining in that regard. Obviously, we do have like a backlog of streams, so obviously if for whatever reason you're watching on a day when we're not live for whatever reason, we do have a lot, like an archive of streams to look at. So if you want to see how I actually painted 40k line, then there is that whole thing. The whole process was streamed, so that's in there. As well as some Space Wolves from the Dead Silence kill team, some Darkwater stuff. Yeah, there's a collection for you to work through if you wanted to catch up on some streams. I love Ark, but I'm trash at it. I only have success against the bots. Yeah. Not the best when you're beating the computer and just the computer. I'll be taking a look. What a gem of a channel I found. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Myself and Mr. Nerd have been doing this for a year now. So we're still very much a young channel. We're still growing. Oh, hello, cat. Sorry, that will be something you've also noticed. We have random animals, well, cats, that appear in our streams quite frequently. A few weeks back, I was streaming and my cat decided that it was time for him to knock over one of our lights, my microphone, and then my water as well. So he just decided to be a little chaos gremlin at that point. So it's endlessly entertaining and you never know what to expect. I'm trying to convince my fiance to do some nids. Ooh. Are you having any success so far? If like you're saying try and probably suggest otherwise. I'm struggling against the basic Ark today, Rothmer. Yeah, so myself, obviously, Rothmer Gaming is also Mr. Nerd, so he is the other half of this channel. He is my husband, so you'll occasionally hear him, see him dotting around, doing stuff. So, but he's always in the comment section, almost always, and anything game-related, he is your guy to talk to. Just going back in with some Retributor armor just to kind of touch up any areas that I missed. Ouch, sorry to hear that. We all have bad days. I've been having a bad week on Ark. A bad weeks, plural, on Ark. Is it one of those games that gives you a bit of PTSD by chance? I currently have a cat playing around my feet. Never a dull moment. And now move on to this little part on his head. Obviously, you said you're new to the hobby, Krytor. Like, what kind of... Are you kind of more into the 40k stuff, or are you more into like Age of Sigmar, or just kind of a bit of everything? I have a great stash. I have one friend that makes it all dwindle. Ooh. 40k. I've bought tons of Dark Angels bits. Too much for a newbie, haha. Not necessarily true. We've still got stuff from a year ago when we started that we haven't touched. But, you know, you start as you mean to go on. If you want to go into Dark Angels stuff, then slowly do it. I don't know if you have got the Citadel apps, Citadel Colour app on your phone. Highly, highly recommend it. So it literally will guide you through how to paint it. So for example, this is obviously the champion we've got right in front of us right now, the companion. And then underneath it has the colours of the model, and then everything from like what base colour you should use to all your bases, your shades, your base, like the actual base, and then highlights. So it's really, really useful. I have the app too, fantastic. I have Assault Terminators, which I'm using as my practice. WK, Dark Angels, Combat Patrol, Bella, Azrael, the Lion. Haha, we did the same. We got into the hobby, spent all our wedding money on Warhammer. Literally, not even joking. We got a bunch of money from our wedding. Everyone thought, are you going to put that towards a honeymoon? And we went, nope. And we went out and bought Warhammer with it. That skull's right there, Rothmer. Haha. Literally, that is what we did. We got married in the November, and by January we'd bought like a bunch of Warhammer. So we got married in November, spent December picking what we wanted, and then spent the money on Warhammer in January. Some people were not impressed by that, but hey, it was our money to do with what we wanted, so. And we chose to put it into Warhammer. How did you two start the hobby? So Warhammer for me was something that I was very familiar with because my dad was a collector when I was a kid. With Mr. Nerd, he again like had an influence of it at home in the form of his brother, and also he kind of did it a little bit when he was a kid. And we really like the lore side of it. So I do another channel which is down in the description, which is about lore, and I do Tolkien lore and I do Warhammer lore, and I was really into the lore side of things, and I really liked the fantasy aspect because we started with Age of Sigmar, because you know somebody has to. We started with Age of Sigmar because we weren't entirely sure how much we'd like it. We knew we'd enjoy it, but how much would we enjoy it? So we started with the fantasy side because Mr. Nerd was like, you'll probably enjoy that more because it's fantasy. And it's just grown from there, really. And the painting side is something that I always saw people do, but never did myself. And then a year ago, we decided to start up the hobby, and we decided to start the YouTube channel for the purpose of like building a community and keeping ourselves accountable, because obviously it's not the cheapest of hobbies to do. So it kind of kept us accountable to make sure we stay on top of projects and continued painting, and you know, it helped in that regard. But a year on, here we are with 580 odd subscribers and lots and lots of viewing hours thanks to streaming. And yeah, we're incredibly grateful. Like, a lot has changed in the last year. We've become parents. We've obviously got married just before, so we spent the last year obviously figuring out married life, become parents, got into the hobby, developed a really great community, started the Discord, and yeah, it's just really, really grown into something that we're really, really proud of and really grateful for. Because I remember when we first started streaming, and it was literally for like 2 people, and then Rothmer, aka Mr. Nerd, as well. So that was it. That was all we were streaming for originally. Congratulations, thank you. That's all we were streaming for originally, was like 1 or 2 people, and then now it can be anywhere from like 6 to 10 to 15 people that will join the stream, and that's really awesome to see. It's like grown and having continuous kind of support. And it's like familiar faces. So like when we told them we were having a kid, everyone was super excited. When we announced we had our baby, everyone was super excited and really invested. And in the Discord channel, now that you've joined it, you can see it's a small community that's slowly grown, and everybody is really, really supportive and encouraging. So it's a really, really great place to be. We found a really great corner of the internet that we're really, really happy to have become a part of. On that lovely note, we will leave it there for today's stream. We'll be continuing on with this second champion tomorrow. So if you are around tomorrow between 6 and 7 p.m, it'll either be 6 or 7. I'll make sure it'll be somewhere between those two. Depends on the wee nurgling. Yeah, it's nice that we are making community of like-minded people. Exactly. Like-minded, kind people, which I'm so grateful for. Because some parts of the internet are not so nice, so we're happy to have found a really nice corner of the internet. But like I said, we'll be leaving it there for today's stream. So thank you, Krytor, Gray, obviously Mr. Nerd, Bo. Like, thank you so much, everybody who has joined the stream today. It's been greatly appreciated. Look forward to it. Our sub. So really, really grateful for that. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. And hopefully you'll have the chance to do the channels. Sorry, mid-game, so quick responses. No problem. You focus on your game. Hopefully you get some better luck with it today. But anyway, take care, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.